All right. Well, I'm gonna talk while a couple more people grab the food or seconds, which is fine. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a humble man today. You have graced me with your presence, with your support, and as I look at my life, my 68 brief years on this earth, this has been a red letter day for me. I'm awfully thankful that you're in my life, and I just want to start off with a quick prayer. And it's not going to be anything formal, but as those of you who know me well know I'm a man of great faith. So we're just going to stop for a minute in silence, and I'm going to ask for a special prayer from your heart to your Lord. Anthony Brown had a small stroke last night. The newspaper said he'll be fine, but after losing the county executive in Baltimore and Anthony Brown, Congressman Brown's issues, we recognize life is frail. Life can be very short. So let's just take a moment and, in our hearts, say a quick prayer for our country and for those that we love. Amen. So, as always happens at these events, we like to introduce the elected officials who've taken their busy time to come and be with us today. And in order to have a different voice up here than me speaking for 15 minutes, I've asked Doug Arnold to join me and to introduce the elected officials and the candidates. Now it's my turn to introduce him. Doug Arnold is running to replace Bob Duckworth as clerk of the court. Those of you who know Bob Duckworth, you might know of my deep affection for the man. He's a neighbor. We go to church together. We've been through the political wars together. He's a great guy. And he's stepping off to pay attention to family issues. And he looked around the room, and there's an awful lot of good, smart, hardworking people. But he picked one who has been in the trenches. Doug has worked at the courthouse for decades. He knows the process, he knows the problems, he's bringing innovation and energy to the Anne Arundel County Circuit Courthouse. So when he announced, a lot of us got together and stood next to him and pledged our support a year or so ago. And I still do the same thing. He's a great guy, and I've asked him to take a minute to introduce first our elected officials and then our candidates. So ladies and gentlemen, Doug Arnold.
Thank you, Senator, for your very kind words, and it is an honor to be here today and support you. We have a number of elected officials I'm going to announce first. We have James Appel with the Central Committee. We have a wonderful judge, Mark Brooks. I get to see him almost daily, and Councilman Michael Peruka. Delegate Sid Saab. Register of Wills Lauren Parker. Our state's attorney Wes Adams. County Executive Steve Shue. And Delegate Michael Malone. Have I missed anybody?
Nicely done.
Very good. We also have a number of candidates with us today. We have Jonathan Boniface for our County Council District 7. Stacy McDonald for Delegate District 33. Beth Smith for Sheriff. Jim Fredericks for Sheriff.
George, you signed in the wrong sheet. I think that's Georgia Creek.
Georgia Creek. Okay, all right, that's it. Is that everybody?
A couple more there?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
Anybody else? Did I miss any other candidates? All right, thank you.
Okay. So, I have been an elected official for 16 years, and I have been running for office for 18 years. And the very first people I went to when I decided that I would like to run, and I went and sought their permission, was my family. And a good number of them are here today. I am so proud to, ladies and gentlemen, introduce the Reilly family, starting with my lovely wife, Kathy. My oldest child, Rachel. My son, daughter-in-law, and 3 of the 9 grandkids, the rich Reilly family. And the baby of the house, many of you know her as the wine lady, Regina McCarthy. We're not supposed to promote businesses, but Doton has really good wine. So after I got permission of the family and I got elected for the first time, the first thing I had to do was get staff. My staff, are they in the room? Or are they outside? Harry, are they out? Joyce? So, the first person I hired 16 years ago, who has stuck with me through thick and thin, is Joyce Maloney. And Joyce, thank you very much. And I have a full-time staffer that many of you know, who really has kept me on target and kept my calendar full, and the issues in front of me, is Carrie Doyle from Suburban. And we have a lady who helps us out for the 90-day session. And some of you know Cindy Nethus. She's in Duluth, Minnesota. I think she's still shoveling snow, but that's a different issue. Also, this is a beautiful place. God created a great space here. But I'm not a member of this club. I'm not a member of any country club. I don't play golf, and you know, what can I say? But one of the members here was kind enough to sponsor this event on our behalf, and I'd like to thank Aaron O'Neill. Aaron, thank you very much. So then we come to the sponsor board, and I have to share with you, 16 years, I probably had 32 fundraisers, and this is the most successful Money's fundraiser I've had. And I just want to make sure you know that the folks on this board wrote big checks, and I'm truly honored and blessed to be there. Roland brought a late check. Ladies and gentlemen, Roland Hayden, one of my very, very good friends. And many of these folks are frequent flyers. Many of these folks have, over the years, been very generous to me, and I just want to make sure you know that I appreciate your support. It allows me to do the things I need to do. We'll talk about my campaign in a minute. But I'd like to introduce 3 women, and if they'd hurry up real quick to the front, I want to brag about each of them. Josie, Irene, Deanna, come on up. If you don't know, this is the year of the woman. Everybody tells me that. But I've known that for years. Because these are good friends of mine from years ago. And I have to share with you, when Deanna Johnson told me she was retiring from being a lawyer, I said, we need to find an important place for you to use your gifts and talents. It took a long time. The Hogan administration is not known for speed. Deanna Johnson is one of our members of the Board of Regents leading our University of Maryland university system. Ladies and gentlemen, Deanna Johnson, let's give her a hand. And like Bob Duckworth, Deanna and I worship at the same church, and we do a lot of good things together. And then we have Irene. I met Irene when I was on the county council probably about 14 years ago.
That's right.
And Irene was working for a nonprofit in Annapolis, helping as their executive director. And I said, Irene, tell me about yourself. She was a young girl from Puerto Rico, and at age 18, joined the Army. And here, standing in front of you today, is a woman who has a PhD in education, and she just got promoted to Brigadier General. With my help, we got her on the State Board of Education right around the transition time that she got her big promotion. And of course, from Puerto Rico, a flag officer, and what happened to Puerto Rico? The hurricane devastated and still devastates. Irene has spent a significant amount of her personal time as a reserve brigadier general in Puerto Rico, and she's been forced to resign from the State Board of Education, not because of a lack of interest, but she can't do everything. And I have to tell you, that was a brave decision on her part. She could have nurtured this position along and attended meetings when she could, but she recognized when she does something, she gives it her all. So I have a great deal of admiration from the ranks to the officer corps, and we thank you for your service. And I too made sure that Hogan knew about her and got her on that State Board event. Now, I didn't have anything to do with this lady. Josie Uria is the new student member of the Anne Arundel County Board of Education, elected by her peers to represent them on Riva Road as a voting member of the Board of Education, Josie Uria. Now, Josie tells me she wants to go to the Naval Academy. If any of you guys, girls, have some influence down there, Brigadier General, let's see if we can help Josie reach her dreams. And I have to tell you, I'm very proud of the women from our district, District 33, who are contributing for the good of our state and our county and our school system. Ladies and gentlemen, the women of 2018. Deanna's going to slip out the back door. She actually has a Board of Regents meeting. Imagine that. I wanted to just take just a few seconds to talk about the 2018 legislative session. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good news is Governor Hogan submitted his fourth budget with no tax increases, no fee increases, and put more money for education than any other governor in the history of Maryland. That deserves a round of applause. We fought hard to support the governor in his efforts to rein in some very aggressive social engineering, some very aggressive spending on the part of the folks from the other side of the aisle, and sometimes we were successful and sometimes we weren't, but it was a wonderful session for a lot of reasons. Now, I have to share with you, the legislators in the room know what my comment is going to be about, and it is that constituents bring issues to our desks to see what we can do to help. And we have some wonderful folks in the audience, I'm not going to point them out, but issues which were important to them are important to us, including some issues on wills and estates. We had an issue on voting safety. We had wholesale beer issues. We had a number of issues brought to us, and my encouragement is keep them coming. We want to know how to fix what's wrong with government. We don't always see it, but many of you do. So whether it's the delegates, the county executive, myself, please keep the information coming, keep the communication coming. It makes my job very fulfilling when I can help individual people with issues that fighting. Now for my update on the campaign status. I have to share with you, I've got 100 4x6 signs. Have you seen them? No. Well, they're right next to Shoes and Hogan's. They're in the garage. Because we're letting these other folks occupy a lot of the space. And our rollout will be September because we don't have a primary challenge. But don't think we're not working hard. The past several weeks I've been out in Harold Harbor, knocking on doors, meeting people, listening to their concerns, and it's a great experience when we go face to face with people in their neighborhoods. I've hit about 600 doors so far, and I've got another 3,000 to go. I've also been out, and some of you have seen me giving speeches or presentations to Boy Scouts or community groups. This is a great way for me to be in front of folks. If you have an opportunity to invite me to a neighborhood issue, community association, or have a neighborhood issue, let me know. And the big problem is always name recognition. I have to share with you, if I introduce, if I bring up a name of one of the new folks, name recognition is very, very small. Our job as candidates is to raise our name recognition in positive ways. And that's what we're trying to do every day at the door, in front of groups. And pretty soon, you folks will have a mailbox full of flyers. They've started to trickle in already, but the next couple of weeks will get a little heavy. And in the end of October, our literature is going to be hitting the mailboxes also. And that's what these dollars are going to go for, to get our message out. And I think the Republicans as a group have a good message. I think myself and my voting record has a good message. And the things I want to do in the future are positive, appropriate things. So I think that's all I wanted to share with you. I'm going to check with my partner, Kathy. Is there anything else I was supposed to review? What about Jim Regan? So some of you have been supporting me for 16 years, and some of you have been supporting me for 18 years. This is my CPA. Jim Regan and I met each other 44 years ago. I got married to Kathy in December, and I met Jim the following September, and he has been an important part of he and his family have been an important part of my life, and he's the treasurer. So whenever you see James S. Regan, is my good friend who's always helped me. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim. But I've got a lot of good friends. If I start going around the room, we'll be here forever. Thank you for coming. There's still plenty of food, plenty of coffee. I'll be here till 9-ish or after if you need to talk to me. And thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.